Hello everyone and welcome to the very first Data Quality Business Bootcamp. This is a regular session every Wednesday at 9 PM GMT where we provide practical tips and advice for data quality businesses and people who work within data quality type organisations. Okay, so the very first thing I want to mention is just a quick word about dataqualitypro.com for those who may be viewing this for the first time. We're the world's largest membership association for the data quality sector, 5,180 plus members. No other community resource has as many webinars, articles, tutorials and interviews that we feature. Importantly, for data quality, MDM, data governance type service providers, we have a dedicated solution provider search facility, and you can also create a branded presence on Data Quality Pro. I think that's pretty much unique within our sector. And a lot of our media resource comes from experts within the profession, many who work obviously within data quality organisations as well. So for any questions and advice, please email me editor@dataqualitypro.com and be able to answer any questions you have there about the site. Okay, so about the Business Bootcamp, obviously practical advice, DQ, MDM and data governance are the main focus areas every Wednesday, 9 PM GMT. And there's also a business development group that you might want to look at. It's dataqualitypro.com/group/business_dev, and that provides a lot of advice there for businesses along the lines of obviously marketing, business building, business development and lead generation, that kind of thing. Okay, so this week's bootcamp we're going to feature two companies, Atacama and Atheon Analytics, featured suppliers on Data Quality Pro. Theme of the week is how do you Google? I'm going to give you some practical advice looking at how does your company feature on Google in terms of search rankings, position and the quality of the whole Google experience. Action resources, we're going to give you some tips on where you can get some help, and at the very end we're going to look at personal action plans, some steps you can take to take on board some of these tips we're providing today. Okay, next week, just to give you a heads up on what we're doing next week on the bootcamp, I'm going to show you a technique which takes typically less than 5 minutes to help you rank #1 in your niche on LinkedIn. Show you here that at a 93,000 people, just under there, 93,000. I was able to rank #1 for keywords data quality expert, just with some minor sort of tweaks to the profile. Okay, so I'll teach you that technique next week. Another tip, next week we're going to look at how you can use dataqualitypro.com a bit more effectively. Many of you are already on the site, but we're going to give you some sort of power tips for leveraging your dataqualitypro.com presence. Okay, so featured suppliers, as I mentioned, Atacama Corporation. So you can see those guys on atacama.com. They also have a Data Quality Pro profile. They're a Platinum member. They create data quality and MDM technology products. Importantly, they have a free DQ analyzer tool that many of you I'm sure will find useful, and you can get that over at atacama.com. On the front page you'll see that there. Next company, Atheon Analytics, recent supplier registered with Data Quality Pro. These guys, quoted here, they use visual analytic tools, techniques and training to reduce complexity, simplify concepts and break down the barriers between you and your data. Go check them out, atheonanalytics.com, doing some very innovative work there with their new product, Data Satellite. And so certainly a company worth checking out there. Okay, so some tips from these guys. So obviously if you look at the Atacama company, Atacama Corporation, one of the things they're really powerful on is a really good call to action. Okay, so download a free data quality product, and this is where a lot of companies fail, so they don't really give people something to do when they come to the website. So think about those calls to action. What can people do when they come to your website? Perhaps they can take away a report, but it has to be useful. It has to be there's a lot of Me Too type content out there, a lot of very bland and uninteresting content now, so you've got to really up your game. So these guys obviously put out a product there, and they can get that off the home page. So it's a strong call to action as soon as you visit their site. They're also making really good use of the profile pages facility on Data Quality Pro, where companies can create their own brand and create profile pages that hang off their profile, and as a result that's a great way for generating leads back to their website. The other guys, the Atheon Analytics, what they've done is on their home page, when you come to the atheonanalytics.com website, they've got a really good visual demonstration there of what their company is all about, and that ties in really well with their brand, which is all about visual analytics. And it's in this market where there's so many different competitors and so many different products and services all competing, that that 1.5 minute video they've got there explains their core message and value in a really different way to what quite often you will see on a home page. So a couple of tips. Okay, but first of all, what I want to talk about is the theme of the week this week. It's all about how do you Google. And what I want to introduce is kind of tried and trusted buying process, which is, first of all, people need to know who you are. Okay, once they know who you are, then they start to hopefully like you, and then trust you as well. And they start to trust what you're talking about, trust your services, your products. Over time, you can start to send them information that helps move people from that know, like, trust cycle, and eventually you'll hopefully move them towards a buying point, or quite often a referring point as well. So they might not necessarily buy from you because the product might not be right for them at that point, but they may certainly help refer you, which in many cases can be even more valuable than buying a product from you, because they can refer you to many people. So the key points of that cycle, that know, like, trust and buy, is that you can actually create an advantage over much larger firms by being more likable and easier to connect with. A lot of big firms, as we'll see in a moment, they make it quite hard for people to connect with them and actually like them right at the very start of that buying cycle. So a good example is by creating really good content that's useful and relevant. You can accelerate trust, reduce some of the fear around those buying points, and move people down that cycle much quicker. And even if you lack confidence, perhaps you're not the most confident person when it comes to networking at events and trade shows and things like that, by taking this kind of content marketing strategy, you can create a really effective sales cycle. Okay, but of course none of this really matters at all if people don't know who you are and what your offer is, and that's the very first point of that buying process there. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about Google, and obviously Microsoft. Data quality is the keywords we've got on the page here. So a typical example here was the other day I thought I really need to go up to speed a bit more on what Microsoft are doing in the data quality space, because I've heard various things, and so I went to Google and just typed in Microsoft data quality. So this is a typical query that a customer might make of your products. And obviously one of the things they're looking for is just some quick easy links to get started with your product or your service. So one thing I noticed here on the paid ad section at the very top of Google there's no presence at all from Microsoft, which I thought quite strange given a company of their budget and their size. So but the very first link, I thought, okay, this looks to be a good likely resource at number one. But the interesting thing is, once we actually looked at that resource, we could find that it pointed to an old version of SQL Server. The document was relating to obviously a product that version is a little bit dated now. The document itself was July 2006, so probably not relevant given all the acquisitions they've made in recent years, and it was a white paper. So a customer coming to Microsoft looking for some basic information about their data quality strategy, their products, is going to be sorely disappointed with this document, because it runs at sort of 20 odd pages and it doesn't answer a lot of the current questions people probably have about their product range. Have another look at the product a bit deeper down. We looked at some of the technical reviewers, and we found this guy Donald Farmer, who's a prominent authority figure within Microsoft. But as we can see, dig a bit deeper, we can see he recently quit for a rival firm. So again, there's a bit of discussion online. Why did Donald leave? And these kind of things don't really add up to a great kind of user experience for Microsoft, actually sort of surfing online. So there's another link in that top set of Google search links there, and this one was for managing data quality with integration services and data quality manager. When we looked at that, we could see that the link didn't actually work. You click on the data quality manager link there, it doesn't actually go anywhere. So again, we've had a bit of a broken experience when it comes to learning about Microsoft data quality products. So when we had a look at another link, we could see at the first call to action, the very first thing where we're going to do something, such as download something or sign up for something or do anything, actually points to a completely different company. We can see that it points to Data Quality Master Data Management with Microsoft SQL Server 2008 R2 ebook. Okay, and that's a completely different company. So the very first call to action goes somewhere that Microsoft obviously clearly doesn't want it to go. So that's a big lesson there in terms of managing your Google output. So what was the outcome? Well, I said it failed to leave with a positive brand experience, and I'm talking about it now. Okay, I went onto Twitter and I talked about it, and we had some other analysts talking about, well, there's not much of a story, and maybe a story next year, and it wasn't overall a really good brand experience. Okay, importantly, I didn't come away from that experience with something I could really refer and share on to our members. And we've got nearly 5,200 members. I've got nothing now I can really share them. No real useful information I can take away. So I didn't take any other action. I didn't get into the buying cycle. Obviously, I'm probably not going to buy a product anyway, but lots of people will be coming onto Google looking to buy products. So Let's compare then to Oracle. And what we can see here is that if you look at search, you type in Oracle data quality, you have a very different experience. You've got Oracle Enterprise data quality page, ranks is number one on the Google stream there for Oracle. You've got events, brochures, technical information, blogs. You've got a contact number. You can have someone from Oracle contact you. A completely different experience. So if Microsoft are watching this, have a look at the Oracle page. I think it gives you a much better experience, and that's the sort of thing I would expect companies to be adopting. But how can you adopt this for yourself? So let's look at personal examples, such as one of our members is John Morris, a very prominent data migration expert. So we search in John Morris data migration. Perhaps you're thinking of signing up John for a speaking appearance, or you're looking to hire him for some consulting work. You type in his name, obviously data migration. Straight away you can see he's got a respected blog on the BCS website, which is a really good authority, well-respected institution there. He's identified as an expert on Amazon with his own book. He's got a LinkedIn profile that backs up his expert status. He's been featured numerous times on Data Quality Pro as an expert. So you come away thinking, okay, this person is someone who we can trust. He obviously has a good track record in the industry, and he's got a book out there. So all of these kind of positive reinforcement messages that take away with his personal brand. But what if you're not an expert in the same light as, say, as John Morris, who's got a book out there, does lots of event appearances and things like this? Well, a good example here is a chap called Chen Yu, who we featured on Data Quality Pro in the last few weeks, and he was one of the first people to pass the IQCP, the Information Quality Certified Professional accreditation. I think he was the first in China, so we did a feature on him, and basically the next day he went to #1 on Google when you typed in Chen Yu data, which you could expect a prospective employer or a client to type those kind of keywords in if they're looking to hire Chen to do some consultancy work, for example. So the fact that he comes up #1, he's got a profile that demonstrates his expertise, that comes through on Data Quality Pro. He's featured multiple points on the site. So it's this kind of reinforcement that you need to think about with your Google presence, that people, you need to track the kind of experience people are going to be following when they're Googling for you, and you can, in many ways, you can engineer that type of experience, and that's really what this session is all about today. So the lessons here, that people use the internet search to know more about you, that they use internet search to start that buying cycle, okay? And your social media and internet footprint are assets. Okay, they're as important as your sales brochures and your product literature, all your event stands. They're assets that are used to help people get to know your brand and move through that buying cycle. But obviously, if Microsoft can get it wrong, there's a good chance you can as well. So you've got to think about that that presence, and think about how you can keep gradually improving it, so that your presence becomes more professional by posting regular valuable content, for example, guest posting on sites like Data Quality Pro, event appearances, things like this. And obviously make sure that your website is set up for SEO correctly. As you could see there, Microsoft actually haven't done a very good job of setting up their website and their content so that when people come into it, they're going to go to a page that they want them to. Okay, so where can we get some help? This is the Action Resources section. So one of the things we're going to look at is you might want to find out what your competitors are doing. So if you type in a set of keywords for, I don't know, say data profiling tools or data cleansing tools or whatever, and you find that all your competitors are up there and you're nowhere to be seen, one of the things you can do is type in opensiteexplorer.org. Okay, this is a product by a really great company who sort of focus on search engine optimization. So if you type in a bunch of your competitors in there, okay, you can actually find all of the links that people have made to their sites, and it comes up with kind of like a linking metric, like a benchmarking figure for each one of them, and it breaks it down across lots of different categories, such as number of links, total number of external links, inbound links, things like this. But what's important, you can actually see where all your competitors are getting featured, and that'll give you some indication of, might be some good ideas for you to start maybe posting to some of those sites as well, and start trying to figure out how companies are finding your competitors at the moment. And obviously there's no invasion of secrecy here or anything like that, or privacy. All this information is in the public domain anyway, so all you're doing is being a little bit more savvy about understanding how other people find your competitors, and making sure that you're kind of getting featured on some of those same places. So some other resources here. So if you go to seomoz.org/learn-SEO, so there's loads and loads and loads of search engine optimization tips there for helping improve your site. On dataqualitypro.com, if you go to /group/business_dev, we're going to be posting a lot more resources in there as well. And if you run a data quality business, it makes sense to be a member of that group. It's all absolutely free. Some other tools, you can use getclicky.com. That shows you what keywords people are searching for you now, what happens when they get to your site, things like that. You can track individual people as they move around your website and what they're clicking on. Other tools, obviously google.com/analytics, the Google Analytics tool. These are really simple tools. You just install on your website and you get basically pretty much free analytics to see what's going on your website, but importantly what search keywords people are typing in. And that one I mentioned before, opensiteexplorer.org there, another site that you can use to really improve your online presence. And in terms of getting found, so summing up then some of the tasks this week, what I would do, I would join that business development group. Okay, start to engage over on dataqualitypro.com/group/business_dev. Start to engage in there so I can find out a bit more about you, find out what makes you unique and different about your business. List some of those keywords that people would typically use to find you, and also install Google Analytics and get clicky to find out how people are finding you right now, because how people find you and how you think they find you might be two completely different things. Look at the competition, see what they're doing, identify their strengths, identify their weaknesses, find some gaps there that you can exploit in your own keywords, write some content that taps into some of those keywords that you want people to find you with. Use that, obviously, opensiteexplorer.org to find lots of intelligence on what your competitors are doing around their sort of traffic generation. Identify opportunities to improve your search listing. Lots of different ways of doing that, obviously, but obviously promotion and sponsorship on Data Quality Pro is a big one. As we've seen there, people are using it to get to number one on Google for their name, but you can also use it to rank number one, get on the front page of Google for keywords around specific products. So obviously we've got a data quality product demonstrator tool, so that's another great way to get your products on the front page of Google there for demonstrations, just by signing up to that feature on Data Quality Pro. Quick recap again on next week. We're going to look at this technique. I'm going to show you ranking number one out of 90,000 people on LinkedIn. It only takes a few minutes, but it's certainly worthwhile, particularly if you run a personal service business, or you're part of a data quality practice that specialises in certain areas. That's certainly something to look at there. And obviously, again, we're going to look at some tips for generating new opportunities on dataqualitypro.com by structuring your profile and your presence in a specific way. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this session. We're going to try and keep these at sort of roughly 20 minutes. And next session is 9 PM, 9th of November. Okay, and I say every Wednesday this session will take place at 9 PM GMT. And if you want to get the details of this event and all the others, it's dataqualitypro.com/bootcamp, and that'll give you the full listing of all events coming up and what's going to feature in each one. But I hope you found this session useful. If you have any questions, do feel free to email me at editor@dataqualitypro.com, and hopefully see you on the next session.